gas up the Jeep, it's good to be free. Load up the pans and fishing poles. The highway is long, the wheels turning round. Pack up the cook stove and the bowls. Arlo and I, we hit the open road. Arlo and I are on the road.
Hey everybody, Arlo and I are out and about again today, and we're just out wandering around looking for mushrooms. Hoping I can find some chanterelles. I've had pretty good luck this year. I'm surprised I haven't found some more, because usually the chanterelles are growing like big flushes. We can find a whole bunch of them. But they're that way, you know, either you don't find them or there seems like you find a ton of them. Yeah, so this is a nice little find here. I'm going to add them to the chanterelles I found the other day and I have at home. And then we'll have enough to make something. I have an idea to make a fun dessert with them. So hopefully I'll find, you know, a couple more handfuls of these, and that'll be the perfect amount. Either way, Arlo and I are going to have a good time hiking around in the woods. Well, I'm back in the kitchen again, and I have those really gorgeous chanterelle mushrooms that we found, and oh man, they smell just like apricots. And well, I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do with the mushrooms, a quiche or something like that, something savory, and I thought to myself, you know, they smell so much like apricots that I thought maybe sort of a mishmash of a sweet and savory dish would be something fun to make. So I was thinking probably the best thing that I thought to make would be a apricot and chanterelle clafoutis, which basically is just sort of like a pancake batter which you pour over fruit. Now, of course, traditionally, the clafoutis is made with cherries, but really, you can use any type of fruit that you like. I've seen apricot, peach, apple, berry, a million different kinds. Really, it's a recipe that you can pretty much put anything in there, and even savory. But I think that kind of sort of lean towards the quiche territory, so I really want to kind of keep this as a dessert, or some kind of a combination of dessert, because we're going to do the mushrooms, and I'm going to do some apricots in it as well, just because these smell so much like apricots, and I thought that maybe just doing a combination of sweet apricots and the chanterelle mushrooms would be a great combination. Now, the clafoutis is a very simple recipe, and I'll show you what we're working with today. We have our chanterelles, some butter, milk, sugar, eggs, some salt, and some flour. And that's it. I also have on the stove, I have some apricots, dried apricots, simmering in some white wine, which I actually started soaking last night, and this morning I put them in a little pan, and now I'm simmering them lightly with a bay leaf, and I'll show you that. Alright, so we're going to take our chanterelle mushrooms, and then we're going to saute them up in a little bit of butter. So I'm going to put a couple tablespoons of butter in the pan. Okay, and then we're going to add our chanterelle mushrooms. I think I'm going to add just a tiny little bit of salt to this. We're just going to let these saute and soften up. Oh, the smell of apricots coming from this pan is incredible. It's just unbelievable how much they smell like apricots. And then, speaking of apricots, over here are our apricots I have simmering in the white wine. and those are almost ready as well. So all this is going to come together at the same time. Alright, I think those look really nice, so I'm going to turn the heat off and I'm going to push them to the side, and then I'm going to do the same thing with our apricots. I'm going to put those to the side and turn off the heat, and then I'm going to get our batter together. First, I'm going to add our milk. This is actually half milk, half cream. Some sugar. I'm going to put most of the sugar in here, and I'm going to save a little bit. And then we have our 3 eggs. And I'm going to start whisking this together. Okay, and then the last thing is we're going to put in our flour. So I'm going to sift this flour in. Okay. Okay, the consistency of this is like a really thin pancake batter, more like a crepe batter. And then I'll set that aside, and I'm going to take our pan, and I'm going to rub this with butter, just to grease this really well. Okay. All right, now for the fun part. We have all of our ingredients together. We have our apricots, we have our sauteed chanterelles, our batter, and a little bit of extra sugar. And then I have our greased, this is a pie tin, our greased, this is a 9-inch pie tin. So I'm going to start by putting in some of these apricots. Rid of my bay leaf. That bay leaf is going to add an incredible flavor to this. I'll just put them all in there. And then our chanterelle mushrooms. Get all of those in there as well. Okay. Just spread those around there evenly. Oh, it looks so pretty already. Look at that. That is so beautiful already. And then just like you would if you were doing a cherry clafoutis, I'm going to put some sugar on here, just like this. I'll put all the sugar on here. Like I said before, I'm really kind of playing around with that idea of savory and sweet, and I think this is really going to be a great combination, being that the mushrooms naturally have that apricot flavor, and I think it's going to lend itself really well to sort of a sweet dessert. And I think getting a bite of that mushroom in here is going to be a nice surprise. And then I'm going to take our batter and pour it over everything here. Okay. Alright, so I have the oven preheated at 350, and it's going to take about 45 minutes to an hour to cook. Wow, so there it is, our chanterelle mushroom and apricot clafoutis, looking very much like a Dutch baby, which are very similar. The clafoutis and the Dutch baby are very similar recipes. This one is nice and crispy around the edges. So I can't wait to get into this. So I'm going to cut a piece out of here and we'll take a look. There it is. So there is our chanterelle mushroom and apricot clafoutis. Now traditionally, at this point, you would dust the top of the dessert with a powdered sugar, but I don't have any. I'm up at my cabin here, and I'm lucky I have what I have. But this looks pretty, even just without the powdered sugar on top. But that would be a nice addition to this. Is it a dessert? Is it savory? I don't know. Let's taste it and find out. Now, I can see my first bite here has a bunch of chanterelle mushrooms in it. It's soft, it's custardy, just like a clafoutis should be. Let me get a piece with the apricot in here now. This is a piece. Now this one has, this bite has apricot and the chanterelle mushrooms in there. And that one's an even better bite. Now it's, like I said, soft and custardy, and you can really taste the flavor of those chanterelle mushrooms. It really comes through really well in this. And also when you get a bite of the apricot, the wine and the sweetness from the apricot really comes through as well. It's just really delicious. And it's a perfect combination because, you know, both the chanterelle mushroom and the apricots have a similar flavor, well, a similar aroma. Look at that. Wow. That is really amazing, amazingly good. And I can taste that bay leaf in with the apricots. And when I get a good bite of apricot, oh, that is so good. Oh my gosh. It's sweet, but it's not overly sweet. It's just actually the perfect amount of sweetness to it. A little bit of this crispy edge here. And the crispy edge with the sugar in it, it does taste a lot like a crepe or a pancake. And the center is a lot softer and very custard-like. It's funny, now you can really taste that apricot flavor in the mushroom. When you just have a bite with the mushrooms in there, that distinctive chanterelle apricot kind of flavor really comes through. It's amazing. And then you have a bite of the apricot, and then boom, it's a little bit sweeter. It has that wine, that bay leaf flavor that I had cooked it in, but it has a much different type of apricot flavor, and they really complement each other well because one's sweet and one's not, and the overall sweetness of the dish really works well. And I really love that kind of playing with sweet versus savory and mixing them together. It tastes really, really good. Wow, and look at that. You can see where I cut into it. You can see the nice sort of, like I said, custardy texture to it. And that's exactly what the clafoutis should be like. Wow, now, when would I serve that? I'm not sure. Maybe after a long day out mushroom hunting, if we find some chanterelles, I would come home and make that, and I would have a nice cup of coffee with that. And that would be a nice way to end a nice day of mushroom hunting. Also be great in the morning in the exact same way. A nice cup of coffee, a nice slice of this Clafoutis. It should be served room temperature or slightly warm. It doesn't have to be super hot, and it shouldn't be cold, but it should be at least room temperature. But I would warm it up just a little bit. And of course, this just came out of the oven. I let it sit for about 10 minutes before I cut into it, and that seemed to be like the perfect temperature there. Anyway, I'm super stoked and super excited and happy at how well this turned out. I knew it would. That every time I go out mushroom hunting and I smell the chanterelles, and just that apricot just really explodes in my nose. And I thought that anything that I could do pairing with an actual apricot would be a good choice. So anyway, if you like this video, please like, please subscribe. That always helps us a lot, and we will see you in the next one. All right.
Gas up the Jeep, it's fun to be free. Load up the pans and fishing poles. Arlo and I, we hit the open road.